Live with CDP, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast live on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Anchor FM. Now here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my fourth podcast this week, live with CDP, season 3, episode 43, and I'm looking forward to my guest tonight. Her name is Teagan Brown. She's a journalist out of the Syracuse, New York area, and she's also a program director and news director with Z89 Radio in Syracuse, and she's also an in-game host for the basketball leagues, Syracuse Stallions, and we're going to talk to her about her schooling and about her work with the radio station and being the in-game host for the Syracuse Stallions of the basketball league, the TBL. They had a couple of games this year against the National Basketball League of Canada, so I'm going to ask her what her thoughts were on the National Basketball League of Canada, that arrangement, and also the All-Star game was in Syracuse, I believe, a month ago when the NBL All-Stars took on the Basketball League All-Stars as well. So just bear with me, guys, and I'm going to bring on Teagan, and I look forward to speaking to her tonight about basketball and radio and her career. And just give me 1 second. Good evening, Teagan. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Chris?
Good. I try to do a good opening for my guests if I can.
That was an awesome opening. I'll add in, though, I am the news director at Z89. Then I'm the programming director at Citrus TV.
Okay, sorry, I got that mixed up. Okay.
No problem at all. I know in my Twitter bio I have a million things written in there, and it's all just mushed together.
Yeah, that's the thing about Twitter. You can only put so much. I have like 500 words I could put in there about what I'm doing, but you're very limited what you can put on your Twitter profile.
I know. As soon as I get that notification of you're running out of characters, I'm like, oh no, I have to go back and reformulate all my thoughts.
And one thing about Twitter, I love Twitter. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big Twitter guy. But when you make a mistake on Twitter, you have to either delete the you can delete the tweet, but you can't edit it. I don't know why you can't edit. There isn't some kind of edit button on your Twitter page.
I know. Well, maybe now that Elon Musk is owning it, maybe he'll add one. Yeah, the amount of times the lack of an edit button has affected me in my live tweeting and everything for different things, it's definitely annoying.
Is that a done deal with him buying Twitter, or is it still up for debate right now?
It's formal as far as I know, but there's a pause on it right now is the big issue for one reason or another. I mean, this has been something that's been happening for months now. I mean, when I was in school, we're done with the semester now, but it was something we covered super heavily on our political show, which I'm an anchor for. So it was something that was talked about for weeks on end.
So, and I was going to say a lot of news going on in New York State recently, too, with the mass shooting in Buffalo. And I was just in that area last week on a Thursday. So that was pretty horrible what happened there.
It was really heartbreaking to see. I mean, I love New York with all my heart. I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. I know people from Buffalo. My sister goes to school there, and just seeing a tragedy and an atrocity like that happen here in New York, so close to where I live, it's horrible. It's heartbreaking, and something needs to be done. I mean, there's nothing else to say other than the U.S. needs to do something.
Like I said, I love visiting your country, Teagan. I have family in Michigan. I have a lot of friends. I'm in the States a lot before the pandemic, and now I'm just coming back. And I really hope they do something about this gun violence and stuff like that, because it seems like it's happening almost every day and every week, and everyone's getting used to it, and nobody's getting shocked about it anymore. And it's just really sad.
Yeah, I mean, as a news reporter, seeing those things, every single day, having that be a top story in your newscast, or, every single day for a week, hearing about it, it's so sad. And I hate that I have to report on it, but we want to keep the public informed. And when those things happen, we have to share it. It's just a shame that we have to see it happen.
Yeah, I had Kelly Dudzik from WGR and Channel 2 in Buffalo on Monday night, and her home is only a mile away, about a mile and a half away from that Top Stores in Buffalo, which was on Jefferson Street. And the thing is, this gentleman was only 18 years old. He's still a kid, and he was from a little suburb called Conklin, New York, which is up near Binghamton, I think.
Binghamton, yeah,
Binghamton.
it's actually it's down from Syracuse. It's a little bit south, but yeah, he traveled all the way to Buffalo, and I mean, there have been mentions of Rochester by him and of Syracuse, which I'm in Syracuse. Rochester's an hour and a half away. I went to school there for a little bit before ultimately ending up at Syracuse. So just the fact that these Central New York and Western New York places were targets of his, it's so sad.
Yeah, I was going to say there's probably going to be more to this story in the next upcoming weeks and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay. I was going to say we'll get into some questions and all that too. I was going to say your Syracuse Stallions. I can talk. They got a busy weekend. They got 3 games in 3 nights, and I guess they got a game tomorrow night against the Connecticut Colbert, and then they got a home game Saturday night, and then believe Sunday they're at the Tri-State Admirals.
Yeah.
Where the heck is Tri-State?
I think it's in Massachusetts. I think. Don't quote me on this.
Okay.
Because while I've seen them play the Stallions at home, I've never traveled to an away game for them. But yeah, the Stallions have a bit of a crazy schedule this week. They have 3 games in 3 nights, but overall they have 4 games within 5 days. They played the Patroons last night, who when we had our home game on Saturday, I believe, on Saturday or Sunday, they played the Patroons, and it was a super hard fought game. Like, out of the entire season, I had never seen the Stallions fighting that hard to win in a game, and ultimately the Stallions did win over the weekend. But last night, the Patroons came back for revenge, took them down. So the Patroons are currently number 1 in the Northeast Division, and the Stallions are still stuck at 2 as of right now, I believe. So
I was gonna say, and I'm trying to get their play-by-play announcer on for the Albany team, Marissa Jacks. She works for Spectrum News in Albany, so she's a really nice person. And I watched one of her broadcasts online through the National Basketball League of Canada, and I thought she did a great job as a play-by-play announcer. And it's nice to see more females getting a bigger role in sports and being play-by-play as well.
Absolutely. I mean, both of our play-by-play people right now are guys, which they're both awesome. They're great. I would love to see more girl representation. I haven't dabbled in basketball play-by-play. I do play-by-play for drag racing, which is a bit different. It's motorsports and everything. I have a really big interest in that. But who knows? Maybe the Stallions will have me hop on for a broadcast one day on TBL TV. That'd be fun. Okay. So it would be fun.
I was going to say, we'll get into some questions, and then we'll, when some of my other questions come down, we'll talk about the Basketball League in whole and the arrangement with the National Basketball League of Canada this year. The National Basketball League of Canada right now is in their playoffs right now. So you've got London, the top team, taking on Windsor, the number 4 seed, and then you got Kitchener-Waterloo taking on Sudbury this weekend, and they're both going to be in Game 3. So I've got the London Lightning winning the whole thing because London is just a solid team from number 1 to the 12th guy on the roster, and they're well coached. And I'm hoping again next year in the future they'll have some kind of arrangement with the basketball league, because I enjoyed seeing those games against the American teams.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen several Sudbury 5 games at home. We played them probably 2-3 times. I don't know if we've had any London Lightning games at home. They've definitely played them, but I want to say it was an away game. So I don't.
It was in London, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't see them play, but Sudbury was awesome. I think I want to say out of the 3 times we played them, I want to say we beat them twice, if not all 3 times, but don't quote me on that. That could be totally wrong. But I do know that they definitely beat them before, because I live tweeted the games and everything. But I mean, the Canada League is awesome. I mean, when they came for All-Star Weekend, that was by far my favorite experience I've had with the TBL and the Stallions so far. That was an awesome weekend.
Yes. So see, before the pandemic, the NBL of Canada had 8-team league. They had 4 teams in Ontario, which they still do, but they had 4 teams on the East Coast, like in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Moncton. But those 4 teams had to be put on hold after the pandemic for financial reasons. So I'm hoping next year the NBL of Canada will get back to being an 8-team league, but still have an arrangement with the basketball league. And I would like to see the games for the basketball league count, because that's the only thing I didn't really care for in this arrangement, was the games counted for the Canadian teams, but they were basically considered exhibition games for the basketball league here in the States.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame, especially when they're both such great teams and they put up a fight and everything. I mean, yeah, the TBL not counting those, I would love to see them count them as well. I mean, they're hard fought games. The teams are out there for a reason. All the travel is for a reason. So why shouldn't they count?
Definitely. Before we get into some questions, can I just show a clip of one of the games against the Sudbury Five and the Syracuse Stallions?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's only like a couple minutes, so I'll just give me 1 second and I'll just.
Going to the strong hand. Nice block by Marcel White. And now the Five are out and running. Little drop pass to Josiah Moore.
Can you hear it okay?
Marcel White.
I can hear perfectly. Thank you.
Cedric Kasongo. Marcel White for three. And Marcel White, that's a 5-4-3. The head coach has the shot from Kasongo. No good. Evan Harris, nice big rebound and a left-hand finish. Second chance opportunities. Just does a really good job at using his size as, for a guard forward combination. It doesn't have the most size, but when he goes inside, he knows how to use the body. Josiah Moore hits a three and responds nicely for the Sudbury Five. And he'll get rewarded on offense. He's going to go against Devin Gilligan there. Jeremy Harris will step in. Stephen Hurt backs off. Not a great idea, because Jeremy Harris will make you pay. Evan Harris with the ball, gets it to Jeremy Harris. Jeremy Harris, the mismatch, goes inside and a little finger roll, and that's good. Not only for their confidence, but then it boosts your team morale going in to when you get a guy like Jalen Bland back in the lineup.
It'll only make you better in the stretch run as well, heading towards the playoffs.
Harris goes up top. Get on up, Big Z. The throw down, the nice pass. Jeremy Harris, that'll make the cuts. Good defense, though, by Nwandu. Dexter Williams Jr. has to put up the three. Big Z, big rebound, and a crush. Monstrous. In the third quarter of action here in Greater Sudbury. Busy schedule for the Sudbury Five. Jason Calise steps back, knock it down, and he does not need a lot of room to get a shot up. A hustle will win you a lot of games. Cedric Kasongo drops it down. Evan Harris, and he has been strong down low for the Five. Nobles can't make the Five pay. Rebound to Caliste, up ahead to Dexter Williams Jr. He'll throw it up. He caught that one. Big Z, big time. Sudbury Five fall 117-104 to the Syracuse Stallion.
Anyways, that clip was courtesy of the Sudbury Five of the National Basketball League of Canada, and Syracuse won that game. But from what I saw that game, it was pretty competitive until probably the last few minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, just watching that, I haven't seen that game before, but Christian Nobles is always getting really down low. One of his big strengths is something I see every single game. Stephen Hurt, tallest guy in the team, always get in the way of everybody in the best way possible. So yeah, I love the Stallions. I love meeting those players and learning everything about their playing style and everything.
I like the road uniforms, the baby blues. They remind me of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
I love North Carolina blue, so I can definitely see that comparison. I was very excited when they told me that, what to wear to games included light blue, because I was like, I own so much of that. My nails literally light blue right now. So
perfect. So it works well. So okay, we'll get into some questions, and then we'll talk maybe a little bit more about that. Are you okay for time-wise? Are you good for a little bit? Okay.
I've got all the time in the world.
Okay, no problem. First question, can you tell my audience here in Ontario, I live in a city called Guelph, which is about an hour from Toronto. It's a suburb of Toronto. Can you just tell my audience a little bit about yourself? And when did you decide you wanted to pursue a career in broadcasting media?
Absolutely. So I grew up in North Syracuse. It's a smaller area compared to the city of Syracuse. It's about 15 minutes from where Syracuse University is and the city and everything like that. I grew up really interested in law and theater, nothing to do with broadcasting. So I originally went to Nazareth College, which is in Rochester, New York, where, like I said, I spent some time there to go to school, and I was studying law, history, and musical theater. And then in the middle of my sophomore year, I had somebody in my life who was really into broadcasting, and I learned that that was something that I could go into, and it wasn't ever something that I had really thought about before. So I decided to start a TikTok of all things, where I posted broadcasting videos and little news cut together and edited and wrote and all that. Ginger Tea News. It's still on TikTok. I still post all the time. And I ended up applying to Syracuse in the middle of that sophomore year. I got accepted into Newhouse as a broadcast digital journalism major, as well as a history major in another school within the Syracuse campus. And went there in the middle of my sophomore year on a whim, just kind of not really knowing what I was doing. I didn't know a lot about broadcasting. I just knew that it was telling people stories and that it was getting to know them and it was getting to talk to people about things that I enjoyed talking about. And I realized that that was something I wanted to do, something I really liked. My grandfather had a really long broadcasting career, 60-year long one.
Wow.
He just passed recently, but
I'm sorry.
no, thank you. I appreciate that. But just seeing his career as well and all the things that he did and the impact that he had on people, especially, and just the things that people have said to me about his impact as a broadcaster, it just makes me want to go into this career even more. And I already thought I really wanted to go into it, but it made it even more passionate.
I love hearing people's stories about their careers on my podcast. And it's funny how my story became. My story, how I got into broadcasting was a couple years ago, and it was due to basketball. I was a volunteer for a Canadian Elite Basketball League team here. It's a rival league of the National Basketball League of Canada called the Guelph Nighthawks. And the one night I was volunteering, they needed a camera operator, and I'd never done that before. So they asked me to film half the game, and they showed me what I needed to do. The producer liked my work. They actually paid me $50, and then they referred me to Rogers TV, which is a major TV cable company in Toronto. They pretty well own, they're $1 billion company. They own pretty well almost everything in Toronto for sports, like the Blue Jays, the Raptors, the Maple Leafs. And going to Rogers TV as a camera operator led to my podcast. So the game of basketball has actually changed my life.
That's amazing. I mean, sometimes the things that we know nothing about end up being our favorite things to do. And I always think that's so interesting because there are people in this world that have been doing it forever and they think it should be a certain way. But then, you know, people like us who hadn't done something before come in and bring a whole new perspective and just end up enjoying it a lot. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, I did go to school for law and security, but back in the 90s, in my 20s, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I did like broadcasting back then, but they didn't have this platform, and I've had a lot of people come on and tell me don't worry about your age, you're doing great, just keep working hard, and somebody will give you an opportunity, and it's never too late to switch careers.
Exactly. I mean, in the middle of my sophomore year, I thought it was too late and I was only halfway through my college experience, but it's never too late to find something that you like or to do a completely different career change, passion change, anything. It's never too late.
Definitely. One thing I've did learn on is listening skills. You already answered my next question, but the other part of it is, did you have any mentors when you were starting up in the broadcasting? Obviously your grandfather, but did you have any other people that kind of helped you out?
Yeah, so I'm still a student at Syracuse right now. So a lot of my mentors are still in my life and I'm sure that they always will be, but when I first got to Syracuse, one of the first things I did was join Citrus TV, which is our on-campus TV station. We cover everything campus related, everything City of Syracuse related, New York related, all of it. And I got there, I knew nothing at all. There's B-roll in, making a package. I had no clue what that was. Hadn't heard that word before. And a bunch of people in my life really came to be big mentors, especially at Citrus. One of the biggest who I'll give a shout out to is Ricky Sayer, also known as Ricky Reports to many people. He just graduated this past January. He just walked the stage last week actually, but he's a staple of the Syracuse community and of Citrus TV, and he just taught me such a huge part of what I know. Along with him, Josh Myers was our previous news director at Citrus. He was the one who brought me in, taught me what I needed to know in order to become a part of Citrus, to audition for shows, to do anything that I needed to. The previous general manager, Katie Lane, she was a really big part in getting me involved there, especially in, I'm not just in the news department, I'm also in the entertainment department, so I got a bunch of stuff on our entertainment show with her. I mean, the list of people goes on because the really nice thing about broadcasting and being in this career is that you find mentors everywhere. I mean, my friend Mike, who I met on Twitter, has become a huge mentor of mine. He has given me so much advice, taught me so much. He gave me a shout out and retweeted your tweet earlier, saying she also calls drag racing and all this. The places that you'll find mentors is surprising, but it's amazing being in this career and being able to find people. So those are just a few of my mentors, but I know that there's so many more, and I know that along the way I'll find more, and hopefully I'll be able to be a mentor to other people if I'm not already.
Were you a little bit nervous your first day on Citrus TV?
I was so nervous. The first time I went on air, I didn't expect to go on air exactly. We went to our pitch meeting for Talking Points, which is our political TV show. It was the first show that I was involved with at Citrus. I'm sitting in the pitch meeting and they're like, Teagan, do you have any ideas? And I say, Amazon workers are starting to unionize down in Alabama. Like, maybe that's interesting. And all of a sudden they send out the show rundown for the following show, and my name is on there, and it says Amazon workers, Teagan Brown. And I was like, oh, I wasn't prepared to actually go on air and talk about it, and showed up for the show, went on air, was so unbelievably nervous. It was still in the time of everybody had masks on and everybody had to be super far apart. And it's weird to think that that was like how I started out on Citrus, and now we're back to a sense of normality. But I was nervous. I was so excited. And from the moment that I went on there and was just able to tell this story of even just Amazon workers that I didn't even know, that I'd never talked to, I learned that it was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
I was going to say, my first doing camera work for Rogers TV for the Ontario Hockey League's Guelph Storm. It's a feeder league for the NHL. It's like college football is to the NFL. And they threw me on a handheld camera, my first live broadcast. And I was so nervous. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be on live TV. And I got the 35-pound camera on my shoulder. But the producer and the crew were so great. And I just kept working away at it, getting better. And now it's like when I do a live broadcast, I'm so relaxed. And sometimes things do happen on the air where technical difficulties happen. But I love being on live TV and being a part of a broadcast and painting a picture for the viewers. Obviously, I'm not doing the play-by-play yet, but just being a part of it as a camera operator has been an amazing experience.
Yeah, I mean, the production team is so important. The amount of stories I've gone to, if I didn't have somebody running the camera or somebody helping with the audio or graphics or anything, the story wouldn't happen. I mean, all people see on TV is the person in front of the camera, but there are just so many people behind the scenes that have to make that possible. It's not just that one person writing the story and just saying it in front of a camera. There's so much more that goes into it than that. So I think it's awesome that you did that. And the fact that you can carry a 35-pound camera on your shoulder and be able to do that for a whole game, I don't think I have the arm strength to do that. So that's super impressive.
Well, they had me do a women's soccer game here Sunday afternoon. I had to get used to being on the tripod because I'm so used to walking around with a camera on my shoulder. So the producer was good. He's just telling me, you just have to do a little more tight shots with the tripod than on handheld camera. But I absolutely love it. It's been a great experience. And I have so much respect for a producer. And you're right. Fans of sports or even news stations don't realize how much work there is in a live broadcast. It's truly a team effort.
Yeah, it absolutely is. There's no doubt about it.
Okay. You already answered. So your first job in broadcasting was with Citrus TV. Now, how did you become against, sorry, I'll start again. How did you end up with Z88 89 radio in Syracuse?
Yeah, so Z89 is I realize you say Z because it's like French for Z, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, yes, I took 9 years of French. I got it. Okay. So yeah, so Z89 is actually, while it goes to the entire Syracuse area and a little bit beyond, it's completely student run, which nobody really knows because we don't present ourselves that way. Because if we presented ourselves as a student run station, people's automatic thoughts are going to be like, oh, well, it's not very good. It's run by college kids and they don't really do anything and they're not going to try very hard. But we put our heart and soul into this station. We put so much time into it. I started out there just by getting trained and helping out with a few shows. And then I ultimately became the legal director this previous fall. And then in the second semester going into winter and beyond, I was elected as the news director, which was really an awesome honor. And it's been really great to be in charge of the news department. We have 3 shows. One is a political debate show, one is a science, technology, engineering, math, and another is a red carpet report. So it's like gossip and celebrities and all the, entertainment type stuff that people like. So I've been a part of all 3 of those shows at some point, which has been really nice to get a little taste of each of them. The political one is my biggest one. I lead host that one. But just being involved there it's awesome. It's radio is so different from TV. And I will say I have a different personality on radio than I do on TV, because on TV it's so much, your news voice, you're talking about this and this and people are seeing your face. But on the radio, if I'm on our, 4-hour morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. radio show, obviously I'm not going to have quite as much energy as I would at a 6 p.m. newscast, and I'll be a little bit more relaxed. It'll be talking about fun things and playing games and stuff on air while people are driving to work. So definitely it's a different environment at Citrus TV than it is at Z89, but both of them teach you such great things, and they make you a better broadcaster, and they make you a better person, and you have friends and family there and everything. So yeah, Z is great. It's awesome.
What I was going to say, from what I've seen on TV, it's more scripted and everything is more condensed. Radio, from what I've seen on radio, you have a little more flexibility and more leeway than you do with TV, but it's still great to be able to do the camera work on the live TV and do my podcast as well. And with my podcast, I can do this live like we are now, or I can do an audio version as well. So I'm getting a taste of a little bit of both.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. Again, like I said earlier, I'm not too familiar with this streaming platform or anything, but this is awesome. This is something I'll definitely look into using in the future and everything.
Yeah, my friend Jamie, the Philly sports guy, when I started out my podcast a year and a half ago, it was just basically on Facebook Live, told me to go try StreamYard. I'm like, what's StreamYard? And then I looked it up, and it's great. Now, you can do StreamYard for free, but then there's ones that you pay for. So I do so much podcasting, so I use the professional one, which is $25 US a month. But it's great because I can show video clips, I can promote my guests on here, I can put graphics and all that on here as well. So, and I try every guest I have on here, wherever they're from, I try to put a background on for them as well.
Yes, I love the Syracuse background. I told you this earlier, but it's awesome. Downtown Syracuse, the views you can get from all different angles of the city. I love it down there. It's great.
I've been through the city. I haven't stayed there overnight, but just driving from the Ontario area up to New York City, it's just beautiful up there in Syracuse, Binghamton. I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. I need to go back there again. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah, Cooperstown is it's great. My grandfather, who I mentioned before, he broadcasted many induction type things and ceremonies and all that up there. He was definitely a well-known face up there. So I've got to make my way back there too.
I was going to say, you got a favorite baseball team since you're in New York State. I'm assuming it's either the Yankees or the Mets.
Now, you would assume that, but my favorite team is actually the Red Sox, contrary to many New Yorkers' love of the Yankees, because up here in the Syracuse area, it's mostly Yankees fan. You'll meet the rare Mets fan every once in a while, but those guys are mostly, I don't know, I meet Yankees fans way more often than I meet Mets fans. And the Mets fans that I do meet are usually from out of state. And I'm like, why are you a Mets fan? But no, I'm a Red Sox fan because my aunt is a huge Red Sox fan. She made me watch games when I was younger, bought me a bunch of Red Sox merch. I actually went to my first game at Fenway last summer. They were playing the Phillies, who is a favorite team of one of my friends, Chile, at school. So of course I had to rub it in his face when the Red Sox beat them. But yeah, I'm hoping to make my way back out to Fenway this summer, because Boston is awesome. It's where I ultimately want to end up. I love it there.
Yeah, I went on a bus trip to Boston in 2017 and saw the Red Sox and Blue Jays play. I actually got to do an on-field tour of Fenway Park, got to sit up in the Green Monsters. It's awesome. It might be an old stadium, But you know what? They've done a nice job renovating it, keeping it up. And I definitely would want to go back to Boston again. They love their beer, love their Sam Adams beer, and they love their sports teams. And I've been lucky. I've been to 13 Major League ballparks, and my two favorite ones are Fenway Park in Boston and PNC Park in Pittsburgh.
I have not visited that one yet. I've been to Fenway. I think I was at Yankee Stadium when I was super little, but I don't remember. My dad is a huge Yankees fan. We had a dog named Jeter, named after Derek Jeter, of course, and we have tons of Yankee stuff in our house. And of course, I don't look at it, I ignore it. But yeah, it's a little bit of a rivalry in the house here.
Definitely. How far is Auburn, New York from Syracuse?
Auburn is, oh goodness, I should know this geographically. I think it's like 40 minutes, an hour.
Okay.
It's about that far, I'd say, yeah.
Okay, because one of my guests is Bob Sochi, who's the voice of the New England Patriots on 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston. Great guy, and he's from that area, and he's actually a New York Mets fan. I said, Bob, you cover the Patriots. I assumed you'd be a Red Sox fan. He goes, no, I'm a New York Mets fan. I guess in that area he grew up as a Mets fan, so.
I guess so. I've only been to Auburn a few times, mostly just to see they have a big theater there, so I'll go and see shows there. But I don't spend a whole lot of time in Auburn.
Definitely. Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. What's a normal day like for you with the radio station and the TV station, obviously? And my other part of the question is on a game day for the Syracuse Stallions.
Yeah, so I'll start out with Citrus. So at Citrus, I'm a reporter, an anchor, a producer. I do a bunch of stuff, but my main thing that I really like doing is reporting. So I'll touch on that. Usually on a good day, I actually have a story prepared. Usually, if I don't, well, then I'm in a little bit of trouble. But I'll come in, I'll see, what's going on with my story. Do I have it done? Do I have to edit it together still? Usually it's a bit of a rush around my classes to get my story done, but I'm a really big fan of going live for all my stories. So I'll go out in the field with a camera, my photog, and everybody, and we'll go from my location to my story. And basically, I have learned that I should not write out a script, because if I write out a script, I will memorize it, and if I memorize it and I forget a word, I freeze and I'm like, oh no, what am I saying? So I've learned that if I know my story, I can talk about it. So I learned the premise. I think my last story I did at the end of the semester was about a food truck gathering. And so, I knew the facts that it was happening on Wednesdays. I knew some of the trucks that were going to be there. I knew where it was. So I was able to talk in front of a camera and ultimately toss to my story and then have it come back to me. And then I get back to the station. We do a little bit of a post meeting and they tell me what I did good, what I did bad, mostly what I did good on a good day. But yes, that's a simple TV day. Those are my longest days because it takes a while to put together a TV story, because you have both the visual and the audio aspects and the writing and putting it all together with editing and all that. As for the radio, they're much shorter, but they're much later in the day. My political show that I go on called Orange State, because orange is, the color of SU, and we're in.
Yeah, that's what I'm wearing today for you. Orange.
I love it. It's a great color. I'm a big fan of orange. So Orange State, our show is not until 9:00 at night, and it's an hour long. So it goes until 10 p.m. So I'll get there 8:00. I'll write down our stories, write down the questions I'm going to ask my people, much like you're asking me questions. I only ask them because I moderate it. I don't give my political opinion on those shows because it's their responsibility to argue about politics. I just make sure that it's a controlled argument. So yeah, we go on the show. After the show, we have a quick little meeting saying what we did good, what we did bad. Most of the time, it's me telling them, you cannot say that on air. That's a lot. So we'll wrap up, and yeah, that's a radio day. And then Stallions game days, those are fun. Those are one of my favorites. So my goal throughout the entire Stallion season, as silly as a goal as it may be, is I don't wear the same outfit to any of the Stallions games. So I have to figure out what I'm wearing first, whether it be blue sweatpants and a white shirt or black leggings and a blue shirt or whatever, some combination of black, white, and blue for our colors. I'll get there about an hour before the game. I'll look at our schedule as to what's going to happen in each quarter with different events and different things like that. Usually it's a game during the second quarter, during halftime, I'll lead a game, and then maybe during the third or fourth I will, but I haven't the last few games just because I think Mike knows I've been focused on live tweeting the game and everything. Mike Sukumasto is our general manager. But yeah, and then we go through the game. I lead a few activities throughout, and I live tweet it, like I said, which is really nice because it gives me a little bit of practice of both making sure I tweet out the right things without messing up, because then I'll have to delete it, like we said earlier, cannot edit those tweets. It also gives me a chance to get to know basketball better. So basically, I'm doing play-by-play, but on my Twitter without me saying it out loud. I'm sure if I was actually put on a mic or on a camera or whatever, I could totally just say out loud what I was tweeting, and it would basically be play-by-play or color commentary or whatever. And then, yeah, hopefully we win, because it's always good when we win. And Caitlin McCarthy is a sideline reporter for us. Her and I will usually work on stuff during the game, whether it be a little check-in during the third quarter and saying, oh, Justin Moss has 13 points up right now. Totally think he's going to be, player of the game. I think that he needs to do this to improve. I think the Patroons are going to beat us really badly and we need to fix that. So things like that. So yeah, and then my day ends and I go home, maybe see my dogs or my boyfriend or my dad or somebody and watch a movie. And yeah, those days are long, but they're fun. I love them. And that was a very long explanation for all of them. So sorry if I talked a while, but yeah.
You're good. I was gonna say you just do the home games in Syracuse, right?
Yeah, I do the home games, and then hopefully you'll see me at the TBL Summer League this year. That's something I'm working on with the TBL Commissioner right now. So hopefully you'll see me do some reporting there.
And what's the commissioner's name again?
Carnell Wiley.
Okay. One question you should ask him, if you could, for me is, are they in negotiations possibly having another deal with the NBL of Canada? Because I really think it would be a good partnership to, I think, continue in the future.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, when he was at All-Star Weekend, because he was there, I did an interview with him. It's on my Twitter somewhere in the midst of all my tweets. But I asked him what it was like to be there for the weekend, and he said it was awesome. It was phenomenal. He wanted to see more stuff like this. So, I mean, I can only imagine that this is something that'll happen next year, and I really hope it does, because there were so many people at our, home court and everything. There were not just fans, but, tons of players there, tons of coaching staff, tons of people who just wanted to be there to enjoy the game. That was, like I said, by far my favorite experience with the TBL and with the Stallions.
Okay. And this leads to my next question. Thoughts on the TBL? I guess the pandemic must have shut it down for a while there too. And the 2022 Stallions overall. And what are some of the players that fans of the NBL of Canada should be aware of on the Syracuse Stallion particularly?
Yeah, Chris, that's an awesome question. I love that one. So first of all, thoughts on the TBL. I think that they're a great organization. I mean, they just popped up a few years ago, and here they are all over the US with, gosh, I don't even know how many teams now. They add, over the last few years, that there's a big amount now. I think that they give players an opportunity. Besides, they have the NBA G League, they have overseas, they have these things, but the TBL is just giving these players more opportunities to, polish their game, to give them an outlet to do something they love, to make connections and network and meet people in this career or in this sport that they just really enjoy. I mean, some of these guys have other jobs as well, and they just love basketball. They love the game. So I think the TBL is a great organization, and I'll jump with that to the Syracuse Stallions. I think they're also an awesome team. I mean, I was super grateful to Mike Sukumasto, our general manager of the team, for him bringing me on this year, because it's just been such a great opportunity to work with them and to have the chance to do all these different things for the team, not just, being the in-game host, but also getting to interview the players. I've written a few pieces on them and a few post-game recaps and things, and it's been really nice to be a part of a team that gives me opportunities that other places don't. Especially, you know, at school, it's super competitive, especially and specifically for sports at Syracuse University. So many people want to go into sports, and especially so many guys. There are so many guys in the department there, and it's just really nice to be with the Stallions and see Caitlin, who's our in-game host, or not in-game host, our sideline reporter, and then me, and, you know, just see that representation there. And as for you know, the team overall and playing this year, it's been a pretty great year. They had a really great start to the season. They lost a little bit of that momentum, which kind of sucked, but they're starting to build it back up again. I think at one point in the season, they may have been in that mindset of, you know, we're on this 6-game winning streak, we're the top, we're the best, and the issue with that mindset is that you're not looking to improve because you already think that you're the best, that you're doing all these great things and winning all these games, but you have to have that mindset of, but what can we do better? What can we do to beat these teams? What are we doing wrong? What are we doing great? What should we do next? And they've gotten some of that momentum back. They've gotten some of that mindset back. It especially showed, like I said the other day in the Albany Patroons game. I had never seen the Stallions fight that hard all season. I mean, they were sweating 3 minutes into the game. They were fighting so hard. And then as for some players that the NBLC should be aware of, there are a few. Charlie Marquardt, he joined the team probably a month and a half ago. He signed on a little bit late because he was overseas. He last year was whatever the title is for the MVP of most three-pointers in the league, and I mean he makes so many. I think he went 15. No, probably like 9 for 15 the other day, which was the top percentage out of the team for the game against the Patroons. Force to be reckoned with. If you see him, you know, from field goal range, it's going in most of the time. And then Christian Nobles, one thing that he's really done all season to put him on top is he gets so down low. He's short. He's probably shorter than me, and I'm about 5'7". He gets low. He gets past all these players that are 6'7", 6'8", you know, these super tall players, and he gets it in the basket right past all them. He's been player of the game probably 4, 5 times, maybe more this season. And then right now we just gained him recently, but Dane Miller Jr. is he's starting to be a real force out there. I've only seen him play in about 2 games, but he's awesome and he's going to do great things. And he's definitely the player I'm most excited to see throughout the rest of the season. But I mean, these guys are all just so great. I mean, Stephen Hurt, Devin Gilligan, Kobe Nwandu, all of these guys are awesome. And I am so excited and so grateful that I am a part of this team, that I get to see them play game after game at home.
I was going to say, and I've been lucky on my podcast. I've had some guys from the NBL of Canada come on here, and from your league as well. I've had Freddie Zamoa, the head coach of the Toledo Glass City, come on. I had the All-Star Game MVP, Chris Darrington, come on as well, and great guy to talk to, and I really hope he gets a shot at the G League next year. And he had so many good things to say about the NBL of Canada as well, and I'm kind of becoming a fan of the league because your association with the NBL of Canada this year, and I hope it continues in the future.
Yeah, I really hope it continues, and I hope it expands. I would love to see the TBL play, you know, or rather just the Stallions play more than the Sudbury Five or the London Lightning, or, you know, I want to see them play more of these guys because there are some great players both down here in the U.S. and up in Canada.
Definitely. I was going to say the one thing you were saying about Syracuse's winning streak, the London Lightning here started 11-0, but when I was talking to their coach, Doug Plum, on Zoom, I'm a media member with the NBL of Canada, by the way. They've given me that opportunity. I always spoke to Doug, and I'm like, Doug, you should be happy you're 11-0, but he's like, yes, but we're getting the bad habits, and guys aren't doing this and that. And then I guess it took a few losses for the Lightning to get them to see what Doug was trying to tell them, because sometimes when you're in a long winning streak, bad habits can develop and guys can think, we're so good, we don't have to play our best. But Doug Plum is he's a tremendous coach with London, and he's also old school type coach, and I think he's got his message sent to his team now, because the Lightning are playing as good as they have all season long, even though they started at 11-0. A few losses here and there actually kind of got his message across to the players.
Yeah, so the Stallions played the Connecticut Cobras the other day, and the Cobras only had 5 people on their entire roster for that day. So, nobody got a break. All 5 of them were out in the court at once. And for some reason, like the entire game, it was just so close. They were within 5-6 points of each other. And, I overhear, them talking and everything about what's going on in the game. And I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, guys, these players from the Cobras have been on the court the entire time. They're exhausted. Why are you only 6 points ahead of them? Like you need to be in that mindset of we need to fight. We need to do things different. Don't just be out there playing and being like, oh, we're gonna win because there's only 5 of them and they're not getting a break or anything, because that's not the mindset that you can have.
I was going to say, and this leads to my next question. You've already answered part of it, but what was it like to speak with the National Basketball League Commissioner, Audley Stevenson, at the All-Star Game in Syracuse? I've had the pleasure of having him on my podcast as well, and I just wanted to ask you how you thought about speaking to him.
Yeah, so I actually I hadn't gone up and introduced myself to him yet. I had talked with Carl Now Wiley, the TBL commissioner, like I said, and he said to me, he was like, oh, have you talked to him yet? Have you talked to Commissioner Audley Stevenson? And I was like, no, I haven't had the chance to. And he was like, let me go grab him. He'll be an awesome interview. So, he comes up and he was just so energetic, just right off the bat. Right now on my Twitter, my pinned post is me talking to him. It's the interview of us, because it was one of my best interviews from that day. And he talked about Philip Flory and the dunk contest. So I was able to, implant some of the footage that I took of that. And his passion, both about the NBL Canada along with this All-Star game, showed so truly and so clearly in the interview that I did with him, that it just really showed that he wanted this partnership to continue as well. I mean, overall, I know that he had he was the VP of operations, I believe, when I was doing my research on him, and then he came up to me in this commissioner position. I'm not sure exactly how, but in the last few years he's been in it. I mean, like you said, these guys have grown and changed, and he's had a part in that. And I mean, overall, I just absolutely loved his passion for the game. I loved his passion for that weekend, for the NBL Canada, and for the relationship that will hopefully grow between the TBL and the NBL Canada.
And he's been involved with the league for 10 years. The NBL of Canada is celebrating their 10th season. So right now, he's doing a great job. And right now, with their playoff format, right now, they're only having 2 rounds since there's only 4 teams. So they're best of 5 series. Right now, London's up 2-0 on Windsor Express in the best of 5. And then Kitchener-Waterloo Titans, who were 1-5 against Sudbury in the regular season, they split their first 2 games against Sudbury in Sudbury. So their next 2 games are in Kitchener. And I love these short series, best of 5s, because upsets are more likely to happen in a shorter series.
Yeah, I mean, we're not yet into playoffs right now, but we're almost there. It's the battle on the road to playoffs, and all of these teams are really realizing that, because it's the end. They've got to get that conference or title or whatever. Like the Stallions were the Northeast Division conference champs last year, and this year they're currently in second. So it's really a toss up of what they're going to do in these next few games, and if they're gonna be to get there or not. And honestly, I couldn't tell you the answer. I wish I could confidently say that they're going to be the Northeast champions again, but I really can't right now.
How many teams in the basketball league make the playoffs? Is it just the division winners, or how does it work?
I wish I could answer that. I'm not really sure. This is my first year with the TBL and everything, so I'm still getting used to this format as well. Yeah, I'll definitely have to do some research on that and get back to you, because I'm not sure.
Okay. I like to ask questions. I'm a curious person. So, okay, no problem. But yeah, you'll have to keep me updated on that too. And I'll do my best to keep following them in their playoffs as well. And then after the first round here in Canada, then it's the NBL of Canada Championship. Normally when they had an 18 league, there would be 3 rounds of playoffs. But because there's only 4 teams this year, they're only going to do 2 best of 5. So I'm still predicting London and the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans in the finals. But Sudbury 5, they're a good team too. So I think the Kitchener-Sudbury series is going to go the full 5. But I think the London-Windsor series, no disrespect to the Windsor Express, I think London's going to finish them off Friday night in Windsor. And we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to the TBL playoffs starting up. I believe in June. I believe.
Yeah, somewhere around there at the end of this month, beginning of June. I'm not sure how many. Let's see. I know that we have 4 games this week, and then after that, I know we only have 3 more home games, and then I think 2 away. So there's only about 8, 9 games left in the regular season for us, give or take ish. Yeah.
How many regular season games do they play in the TBL?
Ooh, I don't know. That is also a great question. You know, as many times as I've looked at that schedule and scrolled through and been like, oh, when do I have to be there? I never count them. I think probably like 25, 30-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know the NBL, they cut their schedule. When they had an 8-team league, they had 32 game schedule, but this year they cut it down to 24, I believe. And then they got the playoffs. So, okay, I just got a couple more questions for you. You good for another 5 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What is, I shouldn't say favorite because it's kind of put you on the spot. So, what is your most memorable story in the interview you've done so far, Teagan?
That is a great question. I've done a lot of stories. I would say my most memorable story that I've done was it was actually just this past semester. The Syracuse Mets, which are of course a minor league affiliate of the New York Mets. They're a local team, and I covered a for them this year. So I did a whole story, and fans coming back for the season and all this, and how it was a lot different than last year when they returned, because I was also at the previous opening day doing a story back in 2021. So I was there in both 21 and 22. So I had footage from both of these days. And for my story this year, part of what I did with the visual aspect of telling it was comparing what the stadium looked like when people entered in 2021, still in the midst of, we only have this vaccine right now, you have to be vaccinated, of everybody had to be masked, everybody had to be social distanced, versus when you walked in this year in 2022, it was a completely different sight. People were walking in without masks. You didn't have to show proof of vaccination. You didn't have to be social distanced, and you excuse me, you didn't see a bunch of signs throughout the stadium that said, stay 6 feet apart for your safety, wear your mask. There weren't people yelling at you that your mask wasn't over your nose or anything like that. And I actually interviewed one of the same people that I interviewed in 2021 and then also in 2022. And it was just interesting because I had talked to him in the midst of a very dangerous pandemic, which of course is still going on. But right now, with many of these restrictions lifted, it was a whole different perspective. So I would say that was definitely one of them. Favorite interview I've done was I covered an EDM music festival, and it was the I've ever covered. I could not hear myself talk. And I interviewed this dude who just the entire time was just jumping up and down as I was trying to ask him questions, holding my microphone in his face. And I was like, so what's it like to be here? He's just yelling back at me like, what? I can't hear you. But it was such a funny interview. And it taught me that you've got to adjust no matter what interview is happening or how it's going. You've got to always adjust and be ready for anything.
Definitely, and that's one thing I'm now doing. Besides doing my podcast, now I'm able to do some live interviews. Like I was at a Buffalo Bandits lacrosse game a couple weeks ago as a media member, and I got to interview the coach John Tavares and some of their players, and one of the writers Griffin. And it's one thing to do the podcast, which I love doing, but doing live interviews is good experience for me too, because I don't have time to put stuff on paper or what I want to say. I have to do it from my from right up here. So that's another skill I'm trying to learn too, is to do more live interviews.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bandits are relatively newer. Their lacrosse team there. I've got to do some research on them. I have a bunch of friends who are really big lacrosse fans, and I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan. So any Buffalo sports are pretty good to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the Bandit's been around since 1992, but I'll be honest, I didn't start following lacrosse until my friend Pat Gregor, who works for TSN here in Canada, he started telling me about the game of lacrosse, and he's like, it's like a combination of hockey and basketball. And then the voice of the Buffalo Bandits, John Gukler, came on a few months ago, and he sold me on lacrosse too, and he actually set me up with a media pass for the Bandits, and I went to my first a lacrosse game in April. I went to two, one in Toronto and one in Buffalo. Absolutely love it. And I had Ashley Miller on from the Albany Firewolves. I don't think Albany's too far from Syracuse.
No, it's
Honestly,
about 3 hours ish.
yeah, so I'm still learning about the game. I know there's field lacrosse, which is big up in central New York, but the box lacrosse, it's great. The Bandits game is this Saturday night against the Toronto Rock at 7 o'clock, and it'll be on ESPN Plus.
I might have to tune in and watch that. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of field lacrosse. I've reported on a few games, and then I think I've only seen box lacrosse once. My boyfriend plays lacrosse, so I think I saw him play. I guess what would be defined as box.
Great sport, yeah. So check out the National Lacrosse League because they're in their playoffs right now. Buffalo and Toronto, it's a best of three, and each game means something because it's such a short series. And honestly, check out the National Lacrosse League, and ESPN Plus and TSN here in Canada are covering their games now as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely. One of my lesser knowledgeable sports, so I've definitely got to freshen up on that because lacrosse is very big here in Syracuse. It's huge.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the field lacrosse, but the box lacrosse I've definitely picked up as well. So I just got two more quick questions for you. This one's a fun one. Hobbies. You have any hobbies, favorite music, and sports teams? You've mentioned the Red Sox and maybe some favorite athletes and restaurants in the Syracuse area if somebody wants to visit Syracuse to see the Orangemen play or the Syracuse Mets play.
Yeah, I'll breeze right through these. So as for hobbies, I'm a big singer and performer, actor. So I do a lot of musicals and plays and performances and things like that. I sing the national anthem, God Bless America, all that for all the naturalization city of Syracuse, which is always really nice to do, to meet all the people that are becoming Americans. Quite a few people from Canada happen to be at those ceremonies when I'm there as well, so I'll say hi to them. Big country music fan. It's about 98% of what I listen to. I'm actually going to be an on-air personality for the Wolf here in Syracuse country station. All about Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs, Miranda Lambert, all my favorites for them. For sports teams, like I said, big Red Sox fan, big Buffalo Bills fan. The Celtics have become my NBA team because I figured I'd stick with the Boston theme, and I did research. Green's one of my favorite colors. I'm Irish. I mean, it just made sense. So yeah, I watched the Celtics the other night lose to the Heat. That was lovely. Well, who knows? Maybe they'll get through. Oh gosh, what other sports teams? I am a Syracuse Mets fan. As for hockey, I'm a New York Rangers fan. That was also a team that I adopted the past year. One thing I've learned at Syracuse is that if somebody's going to talk about a sport, I better minute. So if somebody brings up hockey and they ask me who my favorite team is, I've got to have an answer. So it's the Rangers. As for athletes, Josh Allen, #1 fan. My Twitter feed is always Josh Allen. So definitely him. I'm a big Venus Williams fan. Of course, people know her sister Serena. She's the bigger, more famous sister and all that. But I really like Serena. I played tennis, I really like Venus. I played tennis all throughout high school and almost played it in college. I got an offer, but turned it down. And then for restaurants in the Syracuse area, oh God, there's so many. Oh My Darling in the city of Syracuse is top notch. It's delicious. It's a beautiful, cute restaurant, and underneath there is a speakeasy. So it's a bar on the weekends, which is really cool. I'm not 21 yet, but I've heard it's cool. And then big fan of Twin Trees, best pizza in the area. People can argue with me about it, but I will tell them I'm right. Twin Trees. And then, oh gosh, I mean, this one's in Utica, so it's a stretch. It's an hour away, but Carmela's is a delicious restaurant back in my family's hometown where they grew up in the Utica Little Falls area. So yeah, that's a little spread of all of those answers.
Okay, I was gonna say, are you going to the Garth Brooks concert at New Era Field July 23rd?
I really would like to, I really want to. I think the Wolf, who I work with here, I think we're one of the sponsors of that concert. So hopefully I'll get to meet Garth Brooks. I just met the Eli Young band at a concert, helping out with. I have a picture with them and everything. They were so nice. And hopefully when I go to the Morgan Wallen concert, who knows, maybe I'll get a picture with him. But yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to see Billy Joel in Buffalo 2 years ago, but it got wiped out because of the pandemic. And then last year, the border didn't open until after the concert, so I had to fight with Ticketmaster to get a refund. And I was disappointed because I really wanted to see Billy Joel play because he doesn't come to Buffalo that often. And unfortunately, I did get my refund back, but unfortunately, I missed it. So I would like to go to a concert at New Era Field. Now I'm going to put you on the spot before I let you go. The Buffalo Bills in 2022. Do they finally get their first Super Bowl, or do you think they're going to fall short again?
Okay, this is something I've thought about a lot. I believe full-heartedly, 100% of my heart, that the Buffalo Bills are going to be the Super Bowl champions this year. You guys can quote me on that, post it all over Twitter, do whatever. And if you say I'm wrong at the end of the season, well, you're going to be wrong because they're going to be the winners. I mean, come on. After the last 2 years, losing in the playoffs to the Chiefs, especially last year on a coin toss, which they've changed those rules for the playoffs now. So, maybe that'll change and have an impact and everything. But I just think with Josh Allen's and Stephon Diggs and their amazing relationship, and the people that have just changed and grown so much these last few years in Buffalo, and the Buffalo community, and just the heart that they have at these games. I went to my first Bills game back in January. They were playing the Jets, and my butt off along with all those other Bills fans. We were all cheering as hard and as loud as we can, and we are by far the best fans in NFL. People can tell me I'm wrong, but they'll be wrong.
Second best, Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
My boyfriend is an Eagles fan. He made me wear an Eagles hat one day. It just felt wrong. I felt like a traitor.
Hey, tell them good trace of teams. That's great. Like I said, I'm a huge NFL fan, and I've been to Buffalo a number of times for games as well. So we'll see. But yeah, I think the Bills, if they stay healthy, they should get to the Super Bowl this year. Who do you see them playing in the Super Bowl then, from the NFC?
I really, I don't know. I've thought about this too. That I don't have an answer on, just because so much, like, over the last few years with the NFC, of like what team is on top each year, it just keeps changing. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know. The only person I don't want to see in the Super Bowl is Tom Brady. So as long as I don't see him there, I'll be happy.
I had a feeling you're going to say that answer, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I don't think the Rams are going to repeat. They're a good team, but I don't think the Rams are going to repeat. So I'm actually going to say Buffalo, Tampa Bay.
See, I don't want to see Tom Brady. So I've got to hope that that's not the answer, but I could see that happening. I would. I mean, after the whole Tom Brady, I'm retiring. Just kidding. I'm not retiring. Thing that made me like him even less than I did before, and I thought I already didn't like him a lot. So.
Definitely. I was at his first ever game in July 31st, 2000 at Canton, Ohio. 49ers and Patriots. Brady was the fourth string quarterback, but what I remember most about that game is I ended up having food poisoning from a fast food Italian restaurant in Canton, Ohio, and I didn't want to go to the game, and I was sick, and my friend's like, "Let's go." But you know what? I'm glad my friend dragged me to the game, even though I had food poisoning and I felt awful. I can say I was at Brady's first ever NFL game and have the ticket stub from that game still to this day.
Wow, that is so cool. That is definitely something to brag about.
But the food poisoning isn't it? That's the only time I've ever had food poisoning.
Totally not that. I've had food poisoning like 10 times. So why I'm prone to it and why I keep getting it, I don't know, but I totally feel you.
Yeah, definitely. And my last question I wanted to ask you, any advice for those who are watching or listening tonight, looking to pursue a career in broadcasting, TV, radio, media, such as myself? And where can my audience find you on social media and the Syracuse Stallions as well?
So biggest advice in pursuing this type of career is just put yourself out there. Meet as many people as you can, whether that be, if you want to be a news reporter and you're in high school, well, email your local news station, say, hey, I would love to take a tour, love to talk to your reporters or maybe your sports guys or your producers or anything like that. Go meet those people. And along with putting yourself out there, that really does involve social media. We are in age of social media. And honestly, one of the reasons that I've been found by anybody, one of the reasons you found me was because of Twitter, because I constantly am putting content out there, because I'm constantly working hard. I worked very hard to get verified on Twitter as, a student still in college. And it was something that, as silly as that blue check mark may be, it got me noticed by a lot of people, and a lot of people in this career use different platforms. Use TikTok. TikTok is a huge growing platform. It's how I started.
I'm on there.
And
I'm on there. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. And while that's stupid, TikTok is dumb, it's just dumb videos. No, it's not. It's going to get you noticed. People are going to know who you are. I was moving in students into their dorms this year, helping out with Goon Squad, as we call it at SU. And people were like, wait a second, I've seen you on TikTok. And that's a good thing. Getting noticed through social media, through all of these different networking avenues and platforms and all that. So really that's my biggest advice. Just keep putting yourself out there, but make sure that you do it in a safe way, because social media is a scary place and there are scary people out there. And if you ever feel uncomfortable on social media, block them. Just 100% quickly block them. The amount of commenters that I've had to block on my tweets saying weird things, endless. I've probably blocked 40 people. So while you use it wisely. And then you guys can find me pretty much all over social media. You can find me on TikTok at ginger.t.news. You can find me on Twitter, Teagan with 2 N's, Brown with 2 N's. I know it's been it's right there across the bottom right now, so you can follow me on there. Instagram, it's the same thing with 2 N's on Teagan, but only 1 N on Brown. But if you look up my name, you'll find me. And then, yeah, those are really my 3 biggest things that I use. I have a Facebook, but I don't really use it because it's not really my generation of social media use. But I mean, if you just look up Teagan Brown Syracuse on Google, you will find all my social media. And yeah, I'd really appreciate any follows. If you guys, have any advice for me or have any questions, you can absolutely feel free to reach out. And if you want to know anything more about me or the Stallions or Syracuse University, please feel free to reach out.
I was going to say, and I'm almost 50 years old, by the way, but you know what? It's not a big deal anymore. It's just a number. But I joined TikTok a year ago. I was like one of those people, I'm too old for it, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? My friend talked me into it. And you know what? It's a great tool. I promote my podcast, my guests, and myself on there. And it's a great tool. And I've even done live interviews on TikTok as well. And I'm on there as at Live with CDP. So my podcast name, at Live with CDP on TikTok. I'm not quite have 1,000 followers yet. I'm hoping to, so that way I can do live videos on there.
Yeah, it's TikTok is awesome, and the amount of people that can find you. I mean, I just hit 3,000 followers, which I was very excited about. But yeah, just constantly putting content out there is a very good thing. Even if it's a dumb 5-second video that you don't think will go viral, and then all of a sudden the next day you wake up and it has 700,000 views. That's the power of TikTok.
It's like I did one wrestling card video. I didn't think much of it, and it had 3,000 views, and I'm like, wow, for me 3,000 views is a lot. So but yeah, it's a full-time job promoting yourself, like doing a podcast, booking guests, doing social media promotions. It's a full-time job. It's a lot of work, but you know what? I love doing it.
It absolutely is. And Chris, you do a really great job. But I mean, Chris found me on Twitter, like I said, reached out, and that's part of the career, reaching out to people. Even if you don't get a response or you get a no or anything like that, you reached out, you practiced, you tried your best, and that's what matters. And thank you again, Chris, so much for reaching out and having me on here.
No problem. And maybe you can check out my previous podcast with John Murphy, the Bills play-by-play radio announcer. I got him on over a year ago, which shocked me. And Sal Capaccio, who's the Bills sideline reporter for WGR 550. I'll tell you this, Buffalo has been one of the best markets for media members coming on my podcast. And I had Bud Bailey, who was with the Buffalo News for 23 years, come on the other day. And he's a great man, too, to speak to as well. He's like an encyclopedia of sports knowledge.
Yeah, I think even these people in the industry that we think are, huge names, and we're like, oh, we could never get them to talk to us. All of a sudden, they could be on your podcast. one of my organizations at Syracuse last year, we talked to Kim Pagula, one of the co-owners of
Yeah.
the Buffalo
Wow.
Bills, just because
Wow.
we reached out to her and asked if she would talk to us about women in sports. And there she was on Zoom right with us.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. And Teagan, I was going to say, thank you so much for coming on live with CDP and talking to us about your schooling, your career, and your work with the TV station and obviously the radio station and with the Syracuse Stallions of the basketball league. And I'll definitely have to keep in touch with you and stay in touch with the Stallions as well. And I appreciate them promoting our podcast on their website as well. That's kind of cool as well. And everybody has been great with me on this podcast. And besides the contacts, Teagan, I've made a lot of new friendships with my volunteer work with Rogers TV and my podcast work as well, and with the NBL of Canada as well.
That's really great. Yeah, again, thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, the Stallions are great about retweeting everything, and the TBL, the NBL Canada. I'm really excited, like I said, to just see where this relationship goes. But overall, thank you so much.
Okay. Well, I hope you have a great night. Enjoy the Celtics Heat game at 8:30 tonight. So go Celtics. I got Boston and 7 over Miami.
I will get right on that train with you and say the same as well. But thank you so much, Chris.
Okay, thanks, Teagan. Have a great night, and we'll keep in touch.
You too as well.
Bye.
Bye.
Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my podcast tonight. Season 3, episode 30, or season 3, episode 43 with Teagan Brown. You can follow her at Teagan with 2 N's, Brown with an extra N. And you can also check her out on Z89online.com. That's the radio station she's with. And you can check her out on Citrus TV, which is the Syracuse Orangemen's TV station, citrustv.com. And you can also check out the Syracuse Stallions website, syracusestallions.com, or you can check out the basketballleague.com website as well. They're wrapping up the regular season probably within the next 2 weeks, while the NBL of Canada's doing the playoffs right now. Speaking of the NBL of Canada, just give me 1 second, guys. Just going to put this on my ticker. NBL of Canada playoff games, game 3 in both series. London at Windsor, Friday night at 7:30 p.m. And then Sudbury Kitchener series is tied at 1-1. It's at 7 o'clock Friday night tip-off. Both games are online, streamed at NBLC TV. So if you guys want to watch the London Windsor game or the Kitchener Sudbury game, they both start different times, 7:30. Check out NBLC TV as well. Looking forward to the games. I still got the Lightning winning tomorrow night and winning in that in 3 games. And Kitchener Sudbury is tied at 1 right now. I still think that series is going to go 5, and I'm still going to predict the Titans to win in 5 games as well. So we'll see. It should be great. And then the NBA East Final tonight, game 2, Boston and Miami. Al Horford is going to be back in the lineup for the Celtics. The Heat lead the series 1-0. This game is in Miami, so it's an important game for the Celtics to try to get the series even at 1 before going back to Boston's for games 3 and 4. And also, guys, the NHL playoffs tonight. We got Tampa Bay up 1-0 on Florida at 7 o'clock. Then we got the St. Louis Blues, Colorado at 9:30. Avalanche are up 1-0 after their 3-2 win on Tuesday night against the Blues in overtime in Colorado. And speaking of the TBL, the Syracuse Stallions next game is Friday, May 20th at the Connecticut Cobras, who are struggling at 4-15. 3-3 weekend for the Stallions. They're playing at home to Atlantic City on Saturday night, and then Sunday they're at the Tri-State Admirals, I believe. So, anyways, guys, that's pretty well it. Just to let you guys know, Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is going to be downloaded to Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn. And also, guys, just to let you know, you can follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. That's at Live with CDP on TikTok. I do post a lot of content there. I haven't this week, but I will be tomorrow night for sure. And let's see, guys, I'm going to let you know about my next podcast. My next Live with CDP podcast, season 3, episode 44, will be Wednesday, May 25th at 4 o'clock Eastern. My guest is going to be Stu Jeffries, radio personality from the Boom 97.3 FM in Toronto. That's a 70s, 80s, 90s music station. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Stu about his career in radio and also as a TV personality as well. So I hope you guys can tune in there for season 3, episode 44, which is hard to believe. And also, guys, the OHL conference finals open up Friday, May 20th. North Bay at Hamilton, 7 o'clock at First Ontario Center. West finals begin Saturday night. The Flint Firebirds take on the Windsor Spitfires on Saturday, May 21st. I got Hamilton over North Bay to get to the OHL championship in 5 games, and I have Windsor over Flint in 7 games. So I see a Hamilton Bulldogs, Windsor Spitfires Ontario Hockey League Championship Series starting up in the first week of June. So we'll see what happens there as well. And guys, I think that's about it. Oh, my news I wanted to share, guys, before I head out is I just spoke to Chris from the Toronto Argonauts Media Relations, and the Toronto Argonauts are going to be playing a preseason game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Friday, June 3rd at the University of Guelph Alumni Stadium. You can get tickets through the Argonauts website or through the University of Guelph. And I'm going to be covering that game as a media member. So that'll be great to have that experience again, to be able to write a blog about the Argonauts Tiger Cats game in Guelph. It's a preseason game. And I'm working on with the Argonauts of hopefully trying to interview Argos player, 1 or 2 of them after the game as well. So that's my news, that I will be at that game as a member of the media, courtesy of the Toronto Argonauts. And I'm looking forward to this as the Argonauts are having their training camp at the University of Guelph and playing one of their home preseason games against a rivalry Hamilton Tiger Cats as well. Before I go, guys, I just want to say thank you to everybody watching this live on my YouTube channel. I'm at 94 subscribers, so I'm hoping to get 6 more subscribers and get up to 100 subscribers for my YouTube channel. You can check it out at Chris Palme Live with CDP Podcast and hit the subscribe notification. Thank you to everybody watching this live on Facebook Live and also on my Twitter page at Chris D. Palme. And again, thank you to everyone who listens to my podcast on audio as well. So I've had a great week. I've had 4 great podcasts, 4 great guests, Callie Dudzik, Brian Budd, Ryan from the scout.ca last night, and Teagan Brown. So again, Teagan, thank you for coming on. Check out the Syracuse Stallions.com website and the basketballleague.com as well. So I hope everybody has a great night. Have a great weekend. For those in Canada, have a happy long Victoria Day weekend. I know the American Memorial Day is the week after Victoria Day. So enjoy your long weekend, everybody. Enjoy the sports. And we'll see you on Wednesday, May 25th, 4 o'clock with the next edition of Live with CDP podcast with Stu Jeffries from 97.3 The Boom FM in Toronto. Good night and have a great weekend, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Live with CDP podcast.